I need to start by saying something important. I didn't believe in gut feelings before this night. You know, that sudden sense that something is wrong, even when everything around you looks completely normal? But after what happened during one overnight shift at the motel where I used to work, I listen to that feeling now, because that night, it probably saved my life. My name is Ethan. I was 28 at the time, and I worked the night shift at a small roadside motel about 40 minutes outside the nearest city. It wasn't a big place. 2 floors, 30 rooms, a narrow lobby with a long counter, a coffee machine that rattled constantly, and an old TV mounted on the wall that nobody ever turned on. Most nights were painfully quiet. My shift ran from 11 p.m. until 7 in the morning, and after midnight the building usually felt completely empty. The doors locked automatically at night. If someone wanted to come inside, they had to press a buzzer outside, and I would unlock the door from behind the desk. It was a simple system, and it had never failed before. But one night in late October, something happened that still creeps into my thoughts when I'm trying to fall asleep. It started at exactly 2:03 a.m. I remember the time because I had just looked down at my phone. I was sitting in the back office watching the security monitors when I heard the front desk bell ring, a sharp metallic sound. Ding! At first, I didn't think anything about it. Late travelers sometimes showed up around that time, so I walked out of the office expecting to see someone waiting at the counter. But the lobby was empty. No guest, no open door, no headlights in the parking lot. Just silence. I stood there for a moment, confused. Then I checked the glass doors. They were still locked, which meant nobody had come inside. I stared at the bell sitting on the counter. It was one of those old ones where you have to press the top down to make it ring. There was no way it could go off on its own. I waited for a few seconds. Nothing happened, so I shook it off and went back to the office. But something about it stuck in my mind. The silence in the building suddenly felt heavier. About 10 minutes later, the bell rang again. Ding! This time I jumped up immediately and walked straight into the lobby. Again, no one. The parking lot outside was dark and empty. The same 5 cars belonging to the guests were parked in the exact same spots. No movement, no sound. I felt my hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I walked behind the desk and leaned over the counter, staring at the bell. My heart was beating a little faster now. Then I noticed something strange. The small cabinet door beneath the desk was slightly open. That cabinet led to the storage area under the desk. It held cleaning supplies and extra brochures. I slowly crouched down and opened the door. Inside were boxes and a mop bucket. No person, nothing unusual. Still, I closed it carefully and stood back up. The whole thing felt wrong. I returned to the office, but now I couldn't relax. I kept glancing at the monitors. The cameras showed the empty lobby, the quiet hallway, the still parking lot. Everything looked normal. Too normal. About 20 minutes passed. Then the bell rang again. But this time, I saw it move. The top of the bell pressed down slowly. Ding! My heart slammed in my chest. I rushed out from the office and froze, because someone was now sitting in the lobby. A man. He was sitting on the couch, facing the dark television screen. I swear to you, he hadn't been there a second earlier. He looked tall and thin, mid-40s maybe. Pale skin, dark jacket, mud on his boots. He was sitting perfectly still, not looking at his phone, not watching TV, just staring straight ahead. I forced myself to walk behind the counter. "Can I help you?" I asked. The man slowly turned his head toward me. His eyes were dull, like someone who hadn't slept in days. "Do you have a room here?" I asked. He shook his head. "No." That answer sent a chill through me. "Then how did you get inside?" I asked. For a moment he didn't respond. Then a strange smile spread across his face. Not a friendly smile, the kind that makes your stomach twist. "I've been here longer than you think," he said. Then he turned back toward the blank television. My chest tightened. I slowly walked back into the office and pulled up the security footage. What I saw made my blood run cold. The lobby camera showed the couch empty the entire time, until the moment the bell rang. Right then, a pale hand appeared from under the front desk. It reached up slowly, pressed the bell. Ding! Then the man crawled out from under the desk, slowly, like some animal emerging from a dark hole. I felt sick. There was no way a full-grown person could fit under that desk. But the video didn't lie. He had been there, hiding, watching me, for who knows how long. My hands started shaking as I grabbed my phone and called 911. While I was whispering to the dispatcher, I kept watching the monitors. The man stood up from the couch. Then he began walking toward the hallway that led to the guest rooms. He moved slowly, stopping outside each door, tilting his head, listening, like he was checking which rooms had people sleeping inside. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. The dispatcher told me officers were on their way. I locked the office door and backed into the corner while staring at the screen. Suddenly, the man stopped. He turned his head and looked directly into the camera. For several seconds, he didn't move. Then, his mouth slowly stretched into a wide grin, the kind of grin that doesn't belong on a human face. Then he walked out of frame, toward the hallway that led directly to the office. My breathing stopped. A few seconds later, footsteps right outside the door, slow, heavy. The doorknob turned, once, twice, then it stopped. I watched the hallway camera. He was standing there, just inches from the door, his head tilted slightly, like he was listening to my breathing through the wood. 30 seconds passed, maybe longer. It felt like forever. Then he slowly turned and walked away, back toward the lobby. Moments later, flashing red and blue lights filled the parking lot. Police cars arrived. Officers rushed inside and searched the entire building. But the man was gone. No open doors, no broken windows, no sign he had ever been there. Before leaving, one officer crouched down behind the desk. Then he looked up at me with a strange expression. "There's dust under here. It looks like someone's been hiding in that space for days." I quit the job the next morning, but sometimes I still think about something I noticed in the security footage afterwards. When the man crawled out from under the desk, for a split second, another hand was visible in the darkness behind him, moving like something else was still hiding there. And sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, I swear I can still hear that bell. Ding, like someone is pressing it again.